What's up, everybody? It's Andrew here with Draft Thunder, and I'm going to break down the Monday slate to preseason week 2. So, tonight we have a showdown between the 49ers and the Broncos. And really, this is a kind of interesting but kind of hard to read game. But I think that I have some pretty good options that will help you have a winning lineup. I believe that I have the players who are going to get the most volume in this game and potentially be the best scorers. So I'm going to jump right into it. No messing around with this video, but the first player that I'm going to talk about is, I'm going to go position by position like normal, but really, since it's a Monday lineup, it's a showdown, you pick 6 different players and the captain. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players, and one of them is a flyer kind of in a way. But anyway, so here we go. The only quarterback that I'm truly considering, I'll make it 10 because I'll add another one in. But Drew Lock is a guy who is expected to get 2 quarters of play. Joe Flacco is supposed to start the game, go about a quarter, and then maybe a little bit, but it said Drew Lock's going to get 2 quarters. So that's very appealing to me. Last week he had 180 some yards, touchdown, a pick, and he got sacked in the end zone for a safety. That didn't affect his points, obviously. But pretty good performance from him. They want him to build off that, see what he has going into this year, hopefully be the starter in a few years. They want him to be the future, Joe Flacco to be the present. So he's getting pretty good volume with about a half of play, and I think that that's enough to be in the starting lineup. I don't think he's captain worthy. I don't think he'll be the highest scorer on the slate, but I do think he will have to be in that winning lineup. As long as he puts up like 7 or 8 points, that'd be pretty solid. Going on to the running back position. So 2 running backs I'm considering for the 49ers. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Before I do that, I'll also talk about C.J. Beathard is the quarterback I consider for the 49ers. So he is a guy fighting for the spot on the roster. If they decide to keep 3 quarterbacks, he needs to show that he is a good reason to keep that roster spot open. Nick Mullins has done pretty well in the preseason, did pretty well last year. Garoppolo's injury prone. So I expect to see Garoppolo for a series, Mullins for the rest of the half, and then Beathard for the entire second half. So I think Beathard would be a pretty decent play here. It just depends on if you want to roster another quarterback, which is kind of dumb in a lot of circumstances. But this is a weird slate, so we'll see. Going to running backs, 49ers. The guys I'm looking at, so I don't see Tevin Coleman Breed getting a lot of play here. Jerry McKinnon definitely not. Mostert is a guy who last week I was kind of high on, and then he got a concussion after 3 downs. So I'm not sure if they'll keep him in a lot here. Jeff Wilson Jr., the same thing. I don't know how much work he's going to get. I think the majority of the work is going to be for Austin Walter and Brandon Wilds. So those are the 2 guys who I'd consider for the 49ers. The guy who, out of those 2, I would probably be higher on is Walter. But really, either of them could go off. I think Walter will come in earlier and Brandon Wilds will finish off the game like they did last week. But Walter had a pretty good performance, had a good showing receiving too. So you can look at getting those points from him also. Going on to the Denver side of the ball. So we'll probably see Philip Lindsay and Royce Freeman for the first quarter into like the second quarter in some decent way. And then we'll get a lot of Devontae Booker, I think. Khalfani Muhammad is injured, so I don't expect seeing a lot of him, if any of him. So the 2 guys are Devontae Booker and Devontae Jackson, the 2 Devontaes on the team. David Williams, not Devontae. But really, Devontae Booker's a guy who's going to be the third running back on the roster. And usually in these kinds of games, they get a pretty good look. He's a good pass catcher out of the backfield. I just expect him to get like a quarter of play, if so. And hopefully with that quarter of play, he can do something. I'm probably a little higher on Devontae Jackson, who is the guy fighting to make the roster, and he's probably a guy you'll see towards the end of the game, 3rd, 4th quarter. But I think we had a lot of play. He's a good receiver out of the backfield. He was probably the best running back last week besides Royce Freeman, who ran the ball 3 times. So he would be the running back on the Denver side, in my opinion, who I'm highest on. Now we'll move on to receivers. Going back to the 49ers, we have two guys who did pretty well last week, and they showed that they are fast. By fast, I mean fast. So the one would be Deebo Samuel, and this is going to be an updated thing if he is playing because he's questionable. He left practice because of personal reasons. So you could always this could always be a factor. Like someone might die in his family, and he might just not make it to this game. It's a preseason game. If he's already going to make the team, they like what they see in him. But if he is playing, he's a guy who is crazy athletic, and him and Jalen Hurd are the two guys who I'm going to be considering on the side of the ball because they are just guys who are going to be in for that whole second half, probably making plays. Jalen Hurd got 2 touchdowns last week. Deebo Samuel looked awesome on those end arounds and quick slants to him. Either of them could break a touchdown, so both of them I'll be considering putting in my lineup. If Samuel is out, what I'll probably say on Twitter or in the comments below when it gets close to lock would be Jordan Matthews is a guy who has experience fighting for that roster spot too on this team, but I don't know. I don't really like Jordan Matthews too much. He's a veteran, so he's got pretty good hands, but like his speed's not quite there, so it's really tough to stay with him. So getting closer to lock, but definitely Jalen Hurd's a guy, and then Deebo Samuel's, if he's playing, will be a guy that I'll put in lineups. Going on to Denver, the last two guys I have. The first one is being Kelvin McKnight. So he's an intriguing play here. He's a guy who got 2 targets last week, no catches, but he's a guy who has been doing really well in camp, and somebody who they want to see make the team. Young, athletic guy. I think he's better play than Trinity Benson. He sees play earlier in the game than Trinity Benson. And I think that he gets the volume on the field for snap-wise. It just matters if the ball comes his way. But I will probably be going more running backs here, as you can see with the Denver side of the ball, because they seem to run a lot more than pass. It just depends if somebody falls in the end zone. And speaking of somebody falling in the end zone, that would be what I'd be banking on if I play Emmanuel Sanders. So he tore his Achilles last year, and this is his first play that he'll be seeing in this game. I expect him to be playing the whole quarter with the starters, I hope at least, but they could just play him for a series, get him a catch or two, and pull him out. I don't really know, but I think that he is the number one on the team. He's going to be seeing the ball a lot, and it'll be kind of be like last night I played Thielen for the Vikings, and he got some good targets looking his ways. He got like, I think 30, 40 yards, something like that, and a few catches. So he ended up scoring 5 and some change. So hopefully Emmanuel Sanders, if I play him, can do something like that, but even get in the end zone or get a few more catches. So he's just an intriguing play. Probably will be less owned in my lineups than McKnight, but he's somebody to strongly consider, really. Because they're definitely going to go and get that confidence up, because coming off injury is nothing to joke about. So those are 10 guys to consider in these lineups. Follow us on Twitter at DraftUnderDFS. We will be tweeting out the plays. I will, like a few nights ago when I posted a video, be putting in the comments a player pool with all the plays. Me and Ben will be talking about those, trying to get players locked in. And remember, these are me and Ben's plays. It's just I have more of the video set up, so when I can make a video and he can't because of work schedules, we just try and get the content out to you guys. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe, comment below saying what you think of the plays or who you think will go off tonight, because that really does help us and help us with our research even more. So I hope we can win some nights tonight, and stay tuned for more information. Thank you.